41,071 emails, 350 hours of voicemail, 744 tweets, 46 Facebook messages, 4 fake Facebook accounts, 106 pages of letters, and 1 cup of tea. Loved somebody laughing at all my jokes.
Minds, but my mind is made up. He's a liar, and my friends say likewise.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Listen, as promised, I said I was going to do a video where we kind of go through Fiona Harvey's interview with Piers Morgan. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the contradictions, so let's get started. Let's review this. And of course, let me know your thoughts in the comments. I think one thing to note, it is very unclear whether or not Fiona had watched the Netflix series, the play that was out there, all of this information that was out there, because it sounds like she was well aware that Richard was speaking about her, against her, you know, sharing his experience about her through his project. She was well aware of that.
Have you watched the drama?
Not at all. I've heard about the court scene, about the jail sentences and all this sort of stuff.
But you really haven't watched any of it?
I haven't watched any of it.
You're not curious to?
No, I think I'd be sick.
So she says, I haven't watched any of it. Piers asked her, what do you hope to achieve in the interview? And she says, I came across your show because you're a veteran broadcaster and I think you'll give me a fair hearing. You were persecuted yourself and not so long ago, so that, and then she continues, why I've chosen this show. And then Piers asked her, have you watched the drama? She responds, not at all. I've heard about the court scene, about the jail sentence, and about all this sort of stuff. Piers asked her again, you really haven't watched it? You're not curious? And she says, I think it's sick. It's taken over enough of my life. I find it quite obscene. I find it horrifying, misogynistic. Some of the death threats have been really terrible. She further adds, this is not my kind of drama.
And it's not really my kind of drama.
When did you know that you were the person being depicted in this?
5 years ago on BBC Breaking News.
So 5 years ago, Fiona was aware that she was being depicted in this thing through a play. And for those that aren't aware, before Baby Reindeer was on Netflix, it was a play. Richard Gadd used that material to kind of do his show and reenact some of the trauma that he went through. At least his side of the story. Now, in about 3 minutes and 56 seconds, she says, I've only met this guy 2 or 3 times. I really don't know him. And I left it at that, right? She says that she's only met him 2 to 3 times. Keep that in mind.
And left it at that. I should have possibly jumped it at that stage.
Did you think then it was you that they were depicting?
I thought it was me they were depicting 5 years ago because of this MP's wife stalker article that had been a number done on me by the Sunday Mail.
Now, this is very interesting, and I'm going to introduce to you guys what she's talking about specifically, okay? They write on the bottom, Martha, Fiona Harvey's victim confirmed. Pay attention to the scene and then read the highlighted article.
Why don't you Google something else? Serial stalker torments barristers, death, child.
Let me stop right here. That would mean that if any of this part is true, is it possible that it's relating to the other victim that was shared in the Netflix series? Let me show you what I'm talking about. This is Wray. Wray is a lawyer, actually, who was also interviewed by the Daily Mail. Wray wrote, Baby Reindeer, the Sun newspaper yesterday named the woman who is alleged to have stalked comedian Richard Gadd. The woman they named, Fiona Harvey, also known as Muir. And by the way, there's articles of a Fiona Muir out there. Let me show you. This is from the 2000s, all right? A woman who waged a campaign against Donald Dewar is now stalking MP's wife, Wray. So this lady allegedly, based on what Laura's saying and based on what Fiona's saying in her interview.
Fiona Muir, obviously, as you said, Muir Harvey. Mrs. Wray said she was so frightened she issued workers at her firm with personal alarms. You were then served an interim interdict to stop you from contacting the lawyer or her politician husband.
The woman they name is Fiona Harvey, also named as Fiona Muir. stalked me and tried to make my life a misery over 20 years ago until I finally took out an interdict against her. The Mail on Sunday contacted me last week and did a story today about my experience. Like Mr. Gadd, I initially felt sorry for her and tried to help her and gave her a job. But when I fired her for her behavior, she entangled me with vitriol and threats, which I tried to ignore. However, when she turned her sights on my son, Frankie, she crossed the line and I got a court order.
Serial stalker torments barristers, death, child.
What's that, mate?
Serial stalker torments barristers, death, child.
She crossed the line and I got a court order to stop her. She initially said the character in the show was not her, but now seems to be saying it's based on her. Harvey even called in social workers claiming that Frankie was being ill-treated. So Laura's son was being targeted by Fiona, calling and allegedly, according to Laura, who is a victim of Fiona, allegedly she was having social workers being called on her. Fiona doesn't really go into details about this allegation in PIERS' show, but you do have to kind of wonder about this.
In the course of your relationship with Richard Gadd, you send him 41,000 emails, 350 voice messages, 744 tweets, 48 Facebook messages, and 106 letters.
That's simply
That is insane, because if you guys remember, she only said she met him.
and I thought, well, I've only met this guy 2 or 3 times. I don't know him. And left it at that.
She says she met this guy 2 to 3 times, right? 2 to 3 times. If any of this is true, that is a lot for somebody she only met 2 to 3 times. I would be concerned. I would be scared.
Absolutely no.
What
none
did
of
you
that's
send him?
true. No, none of that's true. I don't think I sent him anything.
You never sent him anything.
No, I think there may have been a couple of emails exchanged.
She goes from, I don't think I sent him anything, to there might have been a couple of emails. So did you send him something or did you not send him something? I mean, listen, she says, yeah, absolutely not true. No true, no true. None of that is true. I don't think I sent him anything. And then PIERS asked him, you never send him anything. And then she says, no, I don't think there may have been a couple of email exchanges, but that's what it was. Just jokey.
But that was it. Just jokey banter emails.
Netflix,
Jokey bantery emails. That's all that it was. But she initially said, no, I didn't send him anything. There might have been.
Netflix have said that these details are the real ones. That this is exactly
completely incorrect.
So you're
Where would
denying
anyone-
sending anything to him?
There may have been a couple of emails.
Text
but
messages?
No,
Facebook messages?
no.
Did you tweet him?
I may have done years and years ago.
You actually tweeted him numerous times.
No, it wasn't numerous. It was about 18 tweets there or 14.
It's quite a
tweets.
lot to someone who's not that well known.
Well, and then you only met him 3 or 4 times, definitely. Now, I think honestly, she goes from like she didn't know him to 3 or 4 times to not messaging him to yes messaging him. Did you tweet him 18 times? Maybe that's all. Like to now. And PIERS is saying, and it's absolutely correct, like, wait a minute. So 18 tweets to somebody that you don't know, that's a lot. It really is a lot. 18 tweets is a lot. Okay?
But we were all friends. You know, it was banter.
Right, but it establishes you were contacted. That's in public.
Yes, I mean, this
Did you write him letters?
Public, no.
Did you write him letters? No. She said no.
I think when I saw the rape interview, that's actually incorrect. What I said there, when I saw that in the Guardian, I said, "What a shame! It's not your fault." Something
You
like
did
that.
write to him.
So she's been following him since he disclosed the rape allegation. If you guys remember, Richard disclosed, being raped by. He doesn't disclose who exactly, but I'm having a feeling that the people on the internet have probably already determined this because, listen, everybody's got a computer. Everybody's a sleuth at this point. Everybody knows what's going on. The way she answers this, it's almost like she's been keeping tabs on him for quite some time. quite some time that she would know about the rape allegation. This isn't something that she has tried to get away from. I feel like this is something that she has followed up. I feel like she's probably Googled him a lot, and kept tabs on him throughout the time that they had to get whatever, from the time that they had that interaction to present time. She can't help herself. I definitely see this. But in this interview, she's trying to like detach herself from her behavior, from anything, from knowing, going from 3 to 4 times, going from no, I didn't message him to you can't really twist that around. I mean, you guys, she answered it. The first answer says it all. Her first response to all of this says it all.
You never texted him.
No.
You tweeted him 18 times, you think. You never sent a Facebook message.
You know, she never texted him because she never had his number. If you watch the Baby Reindeer, he didn't give her number. He refused to give her number. He was actually kind of worried about it. So all she could do was default to emailing him, tweeting him, looking up his social media. And nowadays, to get in contact with somebody, you don't need anybody's number. If you think about it, there's so many ways to get a hold of people. People can get a hold of me in more than one ways. I could think of, you don't need my direct number. Matter of fact, I don't even think I need a phone number anymore because I don't really respond to my number like that. People call me, I'm a screener. So think of it that way. Like, the fact that she was sending multiple emails would have been the equivalent to her texting excessively. If she would have had his number, she probably would have texted him a lot.
Yeah.
And if you sent 41,000 emails,
This is just a lot of rubbish. Yeah, so that should be stored there.
well, they'd all be there.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got them.
He's not got 41,000 emails. That's over a year.
Well, according to you,
How
there's
long
only
would
a
that take?
handful.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, how long would that take someone to type up?
How many do you
41?
think you sent him?
A handful.
A handful of emails for somebody that you only met 2 to 3 times in 1 year, like even one email. What would be the point of the email? Was this like, and I'm thinking back in the docuseries, it was almost like they were hanging out. Was this a group that would hang out? Like, is this a way that she would communicate with him? If she wouldn't get his number directly, like how? A handful, what does a handful look like? 41,000 emails is not a handful. That's not a handful. It's not. That is the size of somebody's mailbox on an email.
Listen, 10,
10 emails.
not 41,000.
Right, there's a massive disparity.
She said less than 10. Less than 10 emails, 18 tweets, no text messages.
I mean, if it's not you that sent all this, then clearly Martha cannot be you.
Yes, Martha cannot be me because there are a number of allegations that have been put to me by journalists that are simply not true.
This is a great statement that PIERS made. If the character Martha sent 41,000 emails and Fiona is denying those emails, then Martha can't be Fiona. Then is there really a defamation of anybody's character? Or is it just like the implication of? I mean, let me know your thoughts in the comments about that. Because this is based on a true story, but not an actual event. I really like the comment that my member made on my video. Are you sure? Shout out to you. Said, based on, inspired by, filmmakers use these words to allow for breaks from. Is it possible that it was just 10 emails and Richard said 41,000? Would that be a huge break in the truth? I think we're at this point where the truth is getting challenged all the time. And so when we're being fed information or somebody's story or details, we're wanting to kind of look further because we've all been fed different versions of what the truth can or isn't, right? Out of somebody's perspective. So I think that we're at this point where we want to celebrate and believe certain people, but we're also kind of stuck in this, well, is this really a truth if it's only inspired by events? Or is this your version of it? If a survivor tells her story and doesn't tell the whole truth or only what she feels inclined to do, but it is not the whole truth or it's portions of the truth, is it still the truth? I mean, I'm just thinking out loud. You guys let me know your thoughts in the comments. You guys know that I like to get a little philosophical-y with you guys, but that's kind of where my mind is at. It's like, here's this woman who, in my opinion, shows a pattern of behavior, but we're getting the version of this story from Richard's side. We would have known her version before. Would that have changed the outcome? Would it have changed how we see her? You know, I have a lot of questions, but y'all let me know your thoughts in the comments.
And why now? Why didn't you go to the police at the time? Or this sort of doesn't make sense.
I mean,
This is an interesting question that she's saying, because she's asking why now this doesn't make sense. And I thought this was very, very important. People on TikTok were also bringing this up of like, listen, Richard never saw himself as a victim of this. Although as an outsider, I probably would have been like, you are a victim, Richard. I want to show you guys a different perspective.
Man, Baby Reindeer went over a lot of people's heads. He reiterated several times that he was not a victim. In fact, Terry stated it multiple times. It was stated in his narration. It was stated when she said it. I don't understand why we're trying to make this a victim thing. He acknowledged his role with Martha. He acknowledged that he was very egotistical. He acknowledged that he kept her around. And at first, he felt as though he was doing it because he felt sorry for her, when really.
And this is an interesting point. Aunt Karen made this point, and I would agree with Aunt Karen on this, is that because he is very much vocal about this piece. He says, you know, I led her on. He does say that. He says it in interviews. He says it in the documentary. He does say that. And people in his circle, like his love interest, pointed this out. It's like, you're okay with this. And so was this a situation where where Richard wasn't really able to call himself out on this, pull himself out, or didn't see the cycle, or didn't see how damaging this was for him? Is it potentially that that's the case? Could be. But Aunt Karen made a point, and I thought it was a good point to highlight, because some of you guys in the comments are also pointing this out. And I want to include you guys, okay? Let me show you what y'all are saying to me in the comments. Somebody in the comments said to me, if he traumatized Martha's most extreme scenes to become famous, why would we trust that he didn't make up all the most interesting parts of this show? What would the reception be if this show was marketed as a work of fiction? Remember, it is him who clearly seeking fame with this Netflix show. That part, I believe 100% from the show. Shout out to Ancient Crustacean. I really love your comment. I wanted to highlight it here. They might come for you in the comments, but I'm letting you know. I love this, okay? So it's a different side to look into this, right? Some of you guys felt like, well, that's a little bit of victim blaming. Well, if it's his own words, is it really victim blaming, or is it something else?
He was feeling sorry for himself. Now, if you take him going back to his abuser, there's so much to unpack there, not enough time, but it's just really interesting to me that I've seen so many people are like, he's not a victim. He knew what he was doing. And he acknowledges that on several occasions.
Having someone at the end of the bar who was pure, unadulterated adoration is kind of what I needed, but it was foolish of me, and it was using someone. And I guess I was punished for that in quite an extreme way.
The question isn't really what he was doing, it was why he was doing it. Why did he keep her around? What was he gaining from that? And when you really watch the series, you can get into the psyche of somebody who's been abused, they're suffering, and
Very
really
much
understand why they keep certain people around. But if you're stuck
very, very much so
on him being a victim, yeah, everything else is going to go over your head.
The question becomes in this interview, at least, and Pierce said it earlier, how much is Fiona being depicted as true? Is it this character Martha that's being depicted, or is it Fiona? Because where I struggle with Fiona is that she goes back and forth on this. Let me show you guys what I'm talking about. If you guys follow her Facebook, she is very active there. I think it tells a little bit about kind of where she's at mentally with this. And she doesn't stay silent on Facebook. So she says, can I just reiterate to Richard's followers, I am not Martha, I am Fiona. I have been informed by various sources that this morning that Richard supporters are still attacking me. I am nothing to do with his infernal place. I am not Martha. I can't access my DMs just now. My other phone broke 3 weeks ago. I have limited access to anything on this phone. And that is the truth. I don't fantasize and make up stories. I am, however, seeing death threats to me and unwelcome posts on my account from Richard's supporters. All of these names and comments from people I don't know are being sent to police and lawyers. I am keeping a list. So is she Martha? Is she not Martha? Is how much of Fiona is being depicted as truth? Is the question. That's the question. Right?
It goes on to say that you heckle Richard Gadd when he was appearing in his stand-up shows. Did you ever do that?
No.
Never.
Which, by the way, speed of heckling, there are videos out there of Richard in comedy shows, and there's like a woman with a very distinct laugh that people are saying it's her. I'm like, listen, we don't even know that. Richard hasn't spoke out on that. Let's let Richard do that, okay?
Did you ever attack Richard Gadd's girlfriend because you were jealous?
No, I don't think he had a girlfriend. I think he's homosexual, but no, I have never been to his house or.
Now, this right here, I want to know about, because if she attacked Richard's girlfriend, I mean, that's, first of all, it's very, very sad if that did happen, but it does bring into question, because that would mean that Martha not only has Richard as this victim, right? She has other people. I mean, she has that Laura Wray, from before. Now she has Richard's girlfriend. So she would also be a victim if that part of the docuseries is correct. Shout out to the subby that sent me this piece of an article that basically said he had mixed feelings about even going to the police. I felt a great deal of empathy for the real life Martha. I didn't want to throw someone who was that level of mentality unwell in prison. In the show, she receives 9 months in prison and a 5-year restraining order after Richard trawl through her messages to prove she was a threat. In real life, he can't say too much about the real Martha other than it is resolved. What does that mean? What does it mean when he said that it was resolved? Listen, I don't think it's resolved anymore now that she's doing this interview. And to a certain degree, was this ever really resolved? If he was going through the torment of all of this, what does resolve mean to Richard? That is the question that I have.
So whoever's doing all this is somebody completely different.
This is a fictional character, hyperbole, exaggeration. This is a fiction.
Well, it's based on
of his imagination.
They say it's based on a real person.
So did he really defame her character? Did Netflix really defame her character? If now she's saying, she said it before in Facebook on tweets, like, that's not really me. Well, this is a fictional character. Did he really defame her? Did Netflix really defame her?
Did you ever contact Richard Gadd's parents and threaten them?
No, that allegation was put to me by journalists. No.
That is really sad too, by the way, that allegation. That part of Baby Reindeer was true. And I only say that because I saw an interview where Richard talked about his parents and seeking refuge with his parents. I mean, that just sounds so scary. I don't know why Richard would make that up as far as that portion, but I don't know. I mean, y'all let me know your thoughts in the comments.
Go to jail. Did you have a
No,
trial?
of course not. Of course not.
Have you ever been to prison?
No.
She might have not gotten into any legal trouble with Richard, but Laura Wray is a whole different situation. I mean, she came after her son who had disabilities, and Laura Wray had to do something about it. I mean, there's articles out there that support that. So that's interesting. And which then lets me to believe, is that why she went from Fiona Muir to Fiona Harvey? Like, she changed her name. You wouldn't want that as a thing behind your name, right? Like, you don't want this kind of restraining order, especially if you're an attorney or you have any type of legal thing. She says that the reason why she changed her name is because of her parents' divorce. Now, I was a little bit, I don't know how I felt about that, given that she's an adult, and as an adult, she's changing her name because of her parents' divorce. I don't know too many people that do that. I can understand if a child, if their name is changed, but an adult because their parents get divorced, change the name. See, this is where my ignorance comes in. Have y'all ever changed your name during your parents' divorce as an adult? Because that's what she puts out here. And let's go to that part.
My surname was double barreled.
What was it?
Muir Harvey. So
Huh?
Muir Harvey.
M-U-I-R.
Yes.
Harvey.
When the parents got divorced, I changed it to Harvey. I just dropped.
So
So when the parents got divorced, I changed it. When her parents got divorced, because she's never been married. So that's, I thought, was interesting. So what do you guys think about the whole name change? Let me know your thoughts in the comments.
Lots of friends.
What did you talk to him about?
It was just a Holy Arms banter. It was
Like what? What kind of thing?
It's interesting when she talks about what she actually spoke to Richard about, like what her relationship, what her communication was like. She says it was just banter. It wasn't anything. Somebody that she met 2 to 3 times in person, went to a comedy show, messaged him a handful of times, and then tweeted him 18 times. It does kind of make you wonder, like, how do you see Richard? Like, why, if this man was so insignificant to you, then why do all that? Like, then why tweet him?
Hey, what you're going to do with your life, or career stuff, sort of. And I thought he was a stand-up show.
What are you going to do with your life and career stuff? Somebody that she met at a bar.
I should never have gone in that bar.
Do you wish you never had?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
How long did you know him for, Richard Gadd?
2-3 months. 2-3 months.
2-3 months, and she only met him 2-3 times in person? 2-3 months? You imagine 41,000 emails in 2-3 months.
He says, Richard Gadd, he didn't see you as a villain, but as somebody who is unwell and needs help.
Yeah, well, he maybe should look a bit closer to home, to himself.
Do you guys think this is interesting? I believe that they both could need help, right? Like, even through Richard's experience, right, of what he shared, and hopefully it sounds like he might have actually gotten some help to address some of the trauma that he went through his essay assault, and then some of this as well. He's made a lot of this into an art form, and I mean, sometimes art is the best way to kind of deal with maybe trauma. Yeah, maybe that's how he's dealt with a lot of this.
Someone who needs help. Interdicting Scotland.
Why would two people who have no contact with each other at all, Laura Wray and Richard Gadd, why would they both portray you as a very unpleasant harasser?
I don't know what.
And by the way, there is this reporter that's claiming to being harassed by her right now. His name is Neil Sears. This is an article from the Daily Mail. The Daily Mail is saying, until now, the Mail has chosen not to identify her, even after she gave an exclusive interview to us 2 weeks ago, and then bombarded our reporter Neil Sears with voice messages. We withheld her name and pixelated her face to protect her privacy. Now she has placed her real identity in the public domain. We will name her as Fiona Harvey, but they're describing her as evidently emotionally unstable individual with a volatile personality, much more to be pitied than condemned. The Daily Mail reporter is being harassed by Fiona at this point.
Yeah, but how many relationships have you had?
I told the staff that relationships were out of bounds. A lot more than Richard Gadd has, I would say.
How would she know that? How would she know that she's had more relationships than Richard if she's not watching what he's doing? Nowadays, people get really interesting in how they find people, look for people. Like I said, people are very easy to find nowadays via social media. You don't need somebody's phone number anymore, unfortunately.
Right. You just said you weren't sure if these were your voice messages.
Yeah, what I mean is somebody could be taping me. Somebody could have taped me in the Holy Arms. On a dictaphone or something like that.
Here's my point to you, is that these are easily provable things. Yeah. He's either got them or he hasn't.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we'll be asking for disclosure of that. But,
and the emails, obviously, there'll be an IP address. And that if that leads to you.
Yeah. I mean, my point is, though, even if that were true, I didn't lunge at him across the bar. I didn't sexually assault him in a canal.
Even if that were true, did y'all notice, and PIERS called this out, she qualified that, even if that were true, is it true or is it not true?
I didn't go to jail.
I understand.
So,
but here's my point to you.
Yeah.
Here's my point to you, Fiona. And I'm not trying to catch you out. I'm not trying to trap you. I'm genuinely fascinated by this story. I watched the drama. I saw them declare it at the start as a true story. And I've seen the interviews since with all various people. And it's clearly a very complex situation, this. But unless I'm mishearing you, I think what you're saying is there is a possibility that you send a lot of emails and there's a lot of voice messages.
Well, that's what I heard her say. Even if it's true, I didn't jump over the bar, I didn't attack him. No, the emails. Even if it's true that she sent a bunch of emails, either she did or she didn't. She knows the truth.
I didn't say
But
that.
then it doesn't mean that you did the more serious things.
Yeah, I am not saying at all that I sent loads of emails. You maybe misheard, play back the interview. What I'm saying is a handful at most, if I did. Congrats.
Okay, a handful. She goes back to, I didn't send the emails, a handful. What is a handful?
Congratulations about the show.
But if he does
etc.
have 350 voice messages.
I know that he doesn't.
And it's your voice.
He doesn't.
And everyone can now hear your voice.
Unless he was taping me in the Holy Arms.
Or he just kept them on his phone.
I didn't phone him. You sound unconvinced, but
no, I'm not. Honestly,
I mean, what?
No. So it's your point that are you challenging him to reveal this evidence?
No, I would challenge him to leave me alone.
Because you're calling him a liar.
I mean, it sounds like a challenge to reveal his shit. You're not going to call me a liar after I went through all of this?
The whole drama needs to be true. They have billed it as a true story, so has he, and it's not. It's blatantly not. Even if the email thing was true, the rest is not. So
why would you qualify?
Even if the email thing is true, the rest is not. This is the second time she's qualified something.
Qualify that, Fiona.
Sorry, why would I what?
Why would you suddenly qualify even if it's true about the emails?
I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
No, Fiona, because if it's the truth, there is no devil's advocate. She doesn't need to play devil's advocate for the things that she's trying to defend, unless there's no truth into what she said and everything's a lie.
Let me rephrase that.
That's really what you're saying, right?
I mean, the fact that she has to rephrase it. If the emails, she started out by saying we only met 3 or 4 times. She sent him a handful of emails. Initially, she says she didn't send him emails, but then she's like, well, a handful of emails. And then it goes to like, there might have been 18 tweets. There might have been something. Even if it's true that I sent him emails, I didn't jump over the bar to hurt him. Like I didn't do that.
Into saying anything that's not actually true. But it seems to me that it may be possible that you have communicated all this stuff with him, but that doesn't mean you did the more serious things.
It doesn't mean
true. It doesn't mean you attacked his girlfriend. It doesn't mean you smashed up a bar. It doesn't mean you did any of those things or threatened anybody. It just, yes, you had a relationship with this guy and you did contact him a lot.
I think what Pierce is doing right here is that he's given her the opportunity to have an out. He's given her an opportunity to correct herself or to say it's possible that I might have sent many emails. I didn't realize it was 41,000 emails, but it's possible that I did that. It's possible that I attacked his family. It's possible that I, went to the extreme. I think Pierce right here is really trying to give her an opportunity to be honest here. But she's not taking it because she doesn't see what she's doing as wrong. Matter of fact, everything in this interview, she doesn't see anything that she's doing as wrong.
Crime interviews with people who've committed way worse offenses than what you've been accused of.
Yeah, I haven't. I know we have.
Way more mass murderers, serial killers, and so on. And they're all, I got to say, almost all of them are very good liars. Could it be people to be asking this, watching you, thinking either she's genuinely innocent here, or she's a terrible liar who is capable of all of these things?
I don't lie.
Or both. She could be, 2 things can be true at the same time. She could be a genuine person, and she could you could be genuinely innocent of something, but also be a liar, or both. And I think that's what she presents to me, is that she presents as somebody who is, in certain areas, she could be genuinely seen as innocent, but she could also be a good liar. It could be both, right? I would probably even say the same to Richard to a certain degree, is that there's some parts that in this, Baby Reindeer Netflix thing where he genuinely, the depiction of that is loosely based on a true story, but there's some parts of it that could be true. Two things can be correct at the same time.
And I tell white lies if I absolutely have to. Like when my 94-year-old ex-neighbour was dying, we all knew she was dying, and I'd phoned her in the hospital the night before, and I lied and said, have a good sleep, everything's going to be fine, and that, So I'll tell.
You know what's so crazy? Everybody lies, y'all. Everybody, whether you lie by omission or you tell a white lie, whatever it may be. I don't. When somebody tells me I don't lie, I have to side eye you, because everybody does. Everybody does.
I'll tell a white lie like that when somebody clearly needed some rest. And
how many times did you meet Richard Gadd?
Don't know.
What would you guess?
5, 6.
Okay, now there's the discrepancy here, because she told us at the beginning it was 2 to 3 times. Now she's saying 5 and 6. 2 to 3 times, 5 to 6 in the span of 2 to 3 months. How many times did you meet this man?
Maybe 5, 6 times.
That's it.
Yeah.
In your life.
Yeah.
She changes her tone in her story a lot.
Yeah.
How do you think it's come to this? If that's all true.
I think he wanted to make money. I think he picked on somebody. There was a backstory there with that stalker article out there, right? So stalking's in vogue, going to prison's in vogue. What do writers say, or English lecturers or something, write about what you know.
And to people who are watching, look down the barrel of that camera. To people who are watching this and who still doubt you, what do you say to them?
I think you should watch this. I think you should look at the number of articles that Richard Gadd and Jessica, the actress, have done, and how Netflix and he have promoted this. I think you should look at him saying, I am some sort of mental case, and judge for yourselves, because I can't change your mind on this. I can just rebut what has been said. You need to make up your own minds. But my mind is made up. He's a liar. And my friends say likewise.
Fiona Harvey, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
I want to know your guys' thoughts in the comments. What do you all believe? Where do you stand? Is this just a situation where they're both telling different versions of a story, where they both lied, or maybe there's only one truth to this, or two things can be the same at the same time? I mean, let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'll see you guys on the next one. Rabbits out. Bye, guys.